Hello and welcome to News Now. I'm your host, Taylor Inman. We're going over the week's biggest headlines for Northwest Montana. Body camera footage shows that Whitefish police officer Michael Hingis contacted federal immigration officials less than 2 minutes after pulling over a Venezuelan man in a traffic stop earlier this year. In the video, which was provided to the Daily Interlake, Hingis can be seen taking Becker Rengifo del Castillo's driver's license, vehicle registration, and car insurance information after pulling him over for a broken taillight on April 24th. Hingis took the documents back to his patrol vehicle where he immediately called a regional dispatch center for federal immigration officials. About 1 minute and 48 seconds into the 14-minute-long video, Hingis said, quote, "Hey there, this is Officer Hingis with the Whitefish Police Department. Just out with a male that only speaks Spanish, wondering if you want to check him," end quote. The video ends before Whitefish Border Patrol agents detained Rengifo del Castillo. Despite having entered the country legally under a humanitarian parole program, Rengifo del Castillo was held for about a week at the Northwest Immigration and Customs Enforcement Processing Center in Tacoma, Washington. He was released on April 30th without charge. While the Whitefish Police Department did not directly detain Rengifo del Castillo, a lawsuit filed in federal district court in Missoula in August argues that the call catalyzed a, quote, "a horrific and traumatic experience for Rengifo del Castillo." The complaint includes 3 counts against Hingis for unconstitutional seizure, false arrest, and equal protection violations. 5 separate counts are lodged against the city of Whitefish, including 1 count of unconstitutional seizure, 1 count of false arrest, 1 count of negligence, and 2 counts of failure to train. Whitefish Police Chief Bridger Kelch is named in 1 count of failure to train. Andres Holliday, a lawyer with Upper 7 Law representing Rengifo del Castillo in the lawsuit, said the short time frame in which Hingis contacted Border Patrol agents is indicative of a racial profiling. At the time of the call, Holliday said Hingis had no facts to support the assumption that Rengifo del Castillo was in the country illegally. Rengifo del Castillo gave his Real ID compliant Montana driver's license to Hingis at the beginning of the traffic stop. The license was issued in March of 2025, about 1 month prior to the stop, according to Holliday. In Montana, applicants for a driver's license are required to provide proof of citizenship or legal residency status. Whitefish City Manager Dana Meeker confirmed that the police department recognizes Real ID compliant Montana driver's licenses as a valid form of identification, but said the document was, quote, "not a valid form of citizenship or legal immigration status." Questioned about the department's internal policy prohibiting bias-based policing or improper profiling, including on the basis of limited English proficiency, Meeker said Border Patrol, not Hingis, determined the need to investigate Rengifo del Castillo's immigration status. The body camera footage indicates that the call lasted for about 3.5 minutes, time that Rengifo del Castillo was illegally detained, according to Holliday. In 2015, the Supreme Court ruled that a traffic stop becomes unlawful if it is prolonged beyond the time reasonably required to complete the mission of issuing a ticket for the violation. After hanging up the phone call, Hingis radioed to Whitefish Dispatch and said, quote, "I'm 10-4, just having a language barrier issue," end quote. Hingis appeared to spend the next 5 minutes typing on the computer in his patrol vehicle. A ticket can be heard printing about the same time a Border Patrol agent approached Hingis's vehicle. The Border Patrol agent said, quote, "sounds like he's a Venezuelan, which might mean he has temporary protected status. We'll have to find out here soon," end quote. Hingis replied, quote, "I was just going to give him a warning if you guys want to continue it. Check him," end quote. Dashcam footage shows the Border Patrol agent attempting to open the passenger side door of Rengifo del Castillo's car as Hingis approached the driver's side window. Hingis returned the car insurance and registration to Rengifo del Castillo. Holliday said Hingis handed Rengifo del Castillo's driver's license to the Border Patrol agent, effectively preventing him from leaving the scene. The angle of the body camera footage prevented the Interlake from independently verifying this information. Hingis spent the next 4 minutes attempting to explain the warning to Rengifo del Castillo, who previously indicated limited knowledge of English. Hingis repeatedly assured him that the Border Patrol agent was, quote, "going to help me with the Spanish." At one point, Hingis directed Rengifo del Castillo to stand at the rear of the car, saying, quote, "no ticket, he's going to help, just stand back here," end quote. Whitefish Police Department does not maintain a policy for translation services, but Meeker stated that the department often uses Google Translate or other translation services. Kelch denied early claims that the Border Patrol agent was called to the scene to provide interpretive services, stating that the local Border Patrol office had directed the Whitefish Police Department to, quote, "not contact them for interpretation-only services." Meeker said the video was consistent with those claims, as Hingis never requested translation services during the call to the Border Patrol dispatch. The video ends shortly after a second Border Patrol agent arrived. Hingis got back in his patrol vehicle as the 2 federal immigration officials continued conversing with Rengifo del Castillo. Johnny Radka Skinner, a local immigration activist who has been heavily involved with Rengifo del Castillo's case, provided both sets of video footage to the Interlake with permission from Rengifo del Castillo. The Interlake's own requests to view the footage under Montana's open records laws were denied by the city of Whitefish. A preliminary pretrial conference for the case is set on January 30th in Missoula. Newly appointed federal judge William Mercer is presiding over the case. The process for repairing and replacing bridges washed out by flooding in Lincoln County was expected to get underway this week as federal, state, and local agencies wrap up damage assessments. Lincoln County officials plan to put out information requests to vendors on certain bridges beginning on December 22nd, according to Nick Holloway, the public affairs officer for the All Hazards Incident Command Team managing the state disaster in Libby. Officials have not determined which bridges will be prioritized for reconstruction. However, Holloway said finding available vendors to begin reparation work may be difficult. The region-wide impacts of an atmospheric storm that swept through the Pacific Northwest in mid-December, hitting Montana, Washington, Idaho, and Oregon, could limit available contracts. Emergency officials said at least 9 bridges in northwest Montana were washed out in the floods, with the majority of them located in Lincoln County. Holloway said initial damage assessments have been completed but are awaiting to be validated by an engineer. He said county-owned infrastructure damages are in the excess of $5 million for roads, bridges, and culverts. These estimates do not include private, federal, or state-owned properties within the county. The Montana Department of Transportation expects to receive funding from the Federal Highway Administration to repair Prospect Creek and Farm to Market bridges, according to Natalie Stout, a spokesperson for the Montana Department of Transportation. The state is required to provide a 13.42% match for federal funds. State and federal bridge inspection reports showed that 3 of the bridges washed out during the floods in Lincoln County were deemed to be in stable condition. Stout said each bridge was under 75 years old, which is the average lifespan of a bridge. Lake Creek Bridge, which spanned over Keeler Creek, was 51 years old and constructed out of corrugated steel, according to state reports. It had a stringer/multi-beam or girder structure and averaged 100 daily trips. Lower Granite Creek Bridge, which stretched across Big Cherry Creek, was made of pre-stressed concrete and had a T-beam structure. The bridge was built in 1977 and had 334 average daily trips. The Farm to Market Road Bridge that spanned over Libby Creek was 63 years old and also had a stringer multi-beam or girder structure. The main span material was pre-stressed concrete and endured 999 average daily trips, according to the National Bridge Inventory. Inspection reports were not immediately available for the other 6 bridges that were washed out in the floods. Stout said inspections and load ratings are only available for state and county-owned bridges spanning at least 20 feet across. Polls across the Flathead Reservation were open all day on December 13th to fill 5 open seats on the Confederated, Salish, and Kootenai Tribes Tribal Council. 3 incumbents retained their positions, Tom McDonald, Lynn Two-Teeth, and Carol DePoe Langford, while Jennifer Finley and Jim Malatar lost their respective races, according to final results posted on December 17th. McDonald, the at-large incumbent, got 775 votes to opponent Sam Barnaby's 542. Representing R. Lee, Malatar lost his seat with 600 votes to opponent Greg Dumontier's 717 votes. Two-Teeth, the incumbent representing Elmo, got 787 votes to beat out opponent Louis Jr. Kay's 541 votes. In a race to represent Polson, incumbent Jennifer Finley lost her seat with 560 votes to Jamie Pluff's 754 votes. In Langford, the incumbent representing Ronan won her race with 709 votes to Ronald A. Couture's 602 votes. While Langford, Two-Teeth, and Dumontier lost their individual districts by 15 votes or less, each handily won the overall tally by sizable margins. The winners will be sworn in at the quarterly meeting on Friday, January 2nd. The sitting 10 council members will vote amongst themselves for the officer positions of chair and vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. Thanks for joining us. News Now is a podcast from the Daily Interlake. We're proud to be the largest independent newsroom in Montana and the longest continuously published newspaper in the region. Today's stories were written by Daily Interlake reporters Hannah Shields and Haley Smalley, as well as Lake County Leader reporter Emily Messer. You can read the full versions of these stories at dailyinterlake.com, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode of the pod. Everybody stay safe and have a great week, and Merry Christmas. Thanks to our sponsor, Lawrence Auto Repair at 1309 U.S. Highway 2 in Kalispell. Most consistently rated 5-star shop serving the Kalispell area. Visit lawrenceauto.com.